Hi, and welcome to HR Prime's Supporting Mental Health in the Workplace training session. My name's Sam, and I'll be your trainer for this session. I'm qualified in mental health first aid and mental health advocacy. During this session, we'll be covering mental health definitions, the mental health continuum, common disorders that you may come across, risk factors, signs to watch out for, wellness action plans and workplace support, the manager's flowchart, and employer responsibilities. So why is it important for businesses to have an understanding of mental health? Well, 1 in 4 people are thought to experience a mental health issue in any given year. Mentalhealth.org suggests 12.7% of all sickness absence days in the UK can be attributed to mental health. In the working year 2021 to 2022, the HSE stated that 17 million days of work were lost as a result of anxiety, stress and depression alone. Statistics show the average absence lasts 18.6 days per person, and as you can imagine, this has a huge impact on businesses. So how do we actually define mental health and mental ill health? According to the World Health Organization, mental health can be described as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes their own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to contribute to their community. Whilst on the flip side, mental ill health is an absence of some or all of these positive factors on an ongoing basis. It affects mood, behaviour and thinking. It's important to understand that each person's experience of mental ill health varies, as does the impact it has on their life, as well as the lives of their family and friends. Each case is unique, and whilst 2 people may have the same diagnosis, they can be affected in different ways and have different treatment plans. The mental health continuum is a sliding scale. You can move up as well as down the scale. A lot of people think as either having mental ill health or having good mental health. It's really not as simple as that. Everyone is somewhere on that scale. In the healthy section, you'd expect to see someone functioning normally. Whilst in the reacting section, the individual may be experiencing temporary and reversible mental distress. This could be things such as bereavement, relationship breakdown, or the loss of a job, for example. In the injured section, an individual would experience severe and persistent distress that impacts their daily life, and this can lead to a diagnosed mental disorder. Finally, we have the ill section of the scale. Once you reach the ill section, the individual has been diagnosed with a mental disorder. They'll be experiencing severe mental distress, which is affecting their daily life. There are a number of common mental health conditions and disorders, and we shall have a look at a few of these now. Stress is the physical, mental, and emotional response to feeling threatened or under pressure. Anxiety disorders include generalized anxiety, social anxiety, phobias, panic disorders, OCD, and PTSD. Depression. Clinical depression is classed as a low mood for at least 2 weeks, which affects behaviour and has a negative effect on a person's physical and emotional and mental state. The most commonly diagnosed mental disorder in the UK is mixed anxiety with depression, and this is estimated to cause 1/5 of lost working days. And just to note, depression can, in some instances, lead to drug and alcohol misuse. So this is something to be mindful of. Likewise, if you have an employee with a drug or alcohol problem, you need to consider if there's an underlying mental health condition. Of course, we also understand that long-term use of drugs and alcohol can lead to depression in itself. There are also a number of workplace risk factors. For example, poor health and safety policies leave staff feeling unsafe and can cause undue stress. Poor communication leaves staff feeling unsupported, unappreciated, and unsure of what the expectations are of them. Poor leadership could include a lack of resources, a lack of training, or a lack of ownership. Limited opportunities can be due to their opinions not being valued of your staff members, and the staff members having no say in their work. Inflexible working. This is usually linked to a lack of home-life balance. Unrelenting workloads can leave staff feeling overwhelmed, and as a result, their quality of work will suffer. In relation to skill set, asking people to perform tasks outside of their skill set is essentially setting them up for failure. There's a big difference between out of your comfort zone and out of your skill set, so you should bear this in mind when setting tasks. And bullying and harassment speaks for itself. So as a responsible and caring employer, there are some signs that we can look out for to support our employees. And these signs are split into 3 groups: physical signs, psychological signs, and behavioural signs. Physical signs may include tiredness or insomnia, headaches, joint and backache, stomach complaints, weight loss or weight gain, throat or chest pain, shaking or tension within the body. Psychological signs may include anxiety or distress, a low mood or mood changes. The employee may become tearful or sensitive, indecisive, distracted, forgetful or confused. There may be a new loss of motivation or loss of humour. They may show illogical thinking or be unable to absorb information. And finally, behavioural signs we can look out for are increased smoking, drinking or drug use, irritability, anger and aggression. The employee might withdraw or they might become restless. There might be new instances of poor timekeeping, extended breaks, or even working more hours than normal. There could be unusual risk-taking, antisocial behaviour, or poor and inconsistent work output. We'll now take a look at wellness action plans and workplace support. The Wellness Action Plan is a useful tool to start a discussion with an employee around mental health. It's a proactive approach that shows commitment to your staff's well-being. If you don't already have a template in use, you can request our free mental health pack for employers, and this will contain a template for a wellness plan in there. A wellness action plan is designed to be used with all staff members, not just those that have experienced mental ill health. And as I mentioned, it provides an opportunity to have a discussion around mental health. It allows you to discuss any known triggers for mental ill health, what support the employee may find useful, and what actions they would like you to take should you notice a deterioration in their well-being. You might also wish to consider having posters on display in staff areas that signpost your staff to local support services. You might also wish to consider having trained mental health first aiders or mental health advocates on site. You can often obtain these qualifications for free with government funding. All of these measures show a commitment to staff well-being. As managers and leaders, there are some measures that we need to be taking to support our staff. These include keeping up-to-date records, including addresses, phone numbers, and next of kin information. We should encourage open communication and provide a safe environment for staff to speak openly. We should be carrying out return to work interviews following absence. We should actively promote general health and well-being. There should be training and upskilling of our managers and our supervisors to recognise the signs of mental ill health, giving them the skills and the confidence to have the conversations with their teams. And finally, we should know what signposting we can do to professional services when required. Bear in mind that the mental ill health is likely to be covered under the Equality Act 2010. employers would need to consider any reasonable adjustments. Remember that support might be available through the external funding, such as Access to Work, but bear in mind this can take several months to work through the system. Remember that you have a responsibility to create a safe working environment which is free from discrimination. We'll now take a look at some case law. This first case is Asda v Barclay. Heather Barclay had worked in the bakery for 24 years and was moved to self-service as was part of a return to work for ill health. Occupational Health agreed she could have regular breaks in the purple room, but it was not noted anywhere within the plan how many breaks that consisted of or for what length of time that consisted. On one occasion there was a different manager on shift. He found Heather in the purple room and told her in not very polite wording to get back to work. She resigned, claiming it was a toxic environment, and she was awarded £8,962.30. Our second case is A Limited v Z. Employee Z suffered a number of mental health conditions, yet did not disclose this to her employer. She was asked why she had 30 days off sick in a previous role, but did not declare the reason. She also completed a health form declaring that she had no conditions. Employee Z then had 52 days sickness in this new role. She failed to disclose any reason for these. GP notes and hospital notes did allude to mental health, but her employer did not follow up on this. She was then dismissed due to continual absence and poor timekeeping. The tribunal upheld the claim and said the medical evidence was constructive knowledge. The company's actions were disproportionate as they hadn't considered occupational health or any other support before dismissal. The employer then appealed to the Court of Appeal. Their argument was that the tribunal only considered what the employer should reasonably have done, but should have focused on what the employer could reasonably be expected to know. They claimed that the employee had continuously hidden her impairment and would likely have continued to do so even if they had investigated further. It was ruled that the employer had demonstrated that it was unreasonable to expect them to have known about disability in these circumstances. The employer won the case. So the key learning points from this case are to investigate and inquire fully prior to making any employment decisions. Consider the reasons the employer might not want to disclose their issues. Managers should be trained in the best method of response to varying mental health issues, and ensure the company does not have outdated stigmas about mental health, because this will help with disclosure if people don't have these stigmas attached. I hope you found this session useful. If you have any questions or if you wish to have a copy of our resource pack, please email us at team@hrprime.co.uk. Thank you.